If you're hiring external help for your business, is your IP well protected? That is a question you might encounter if you're working with freelance workers, subcontractors, copywriters, and in every agency or service provider, this is actually something you have to check in the contract. So it can be buried in the contract, or you might have not defined it in the contract. So we made a little analysis help to work you through that contract and check if that IP is correctly in the contract, and if there's any risks for you as a business. So if you get that wrong, the contractor will still own that IP, and you will have to buy it from them, or you don't have the rights to use what they created for you. So let's take a look at a subcontractor for our marketing agency here. Let's take a look at Sofia. We have a contract with her. She's an independent contractor. And we have here the contracts. And she does, for us, senior art direction, including concept development, visual design, creative oversight, which is super important that that work becomes the IP of our marketing agency. So we have the AI analysis here, and one of the points that AI analysis looks out for is specifically those IP clauses, and if that's correctly handed over as part of this contract. So there's a summary over here in this overview tab. It just tells you what the contract is and what parties are involved and when it is effective. But then an AI assessment is done over the contract, and then you see some more of the details in here that are important. So here is a super important line. The contract is highly favorable to your organization, featuring a comprehensive assignment of intellectual property rights from the contractor to your organization upon creation. And that is just because this analysis has worked through your contract, it found there's like no risk, it's properly covered. But if you would have these risks, it would surface here in the risk tab. The only risk here now is that there's not a liability cap, and there is some obligations for both parties if we go to the obligation tab. So this is a clean contract, luckily. But if there is nothing stated on IP, or it is a contract where IP is super important, like the creation of artwork, the AI analysis will surface that. But for now, risks are clean, obligations. Let's take a look at another contract. We have again here the parties tab. We take a look at Daniel here. We have a contract with Daniel as a subcontractor service for a full stack developer. So it's a different kind of service. If we then take a look into the contract, it says the subcontractor shall provide full stack web development, including front and back end implementation, integration, technical QA. So this is way more technical work, but still, in this case, IP is important because this developer is developing applications specifically for you, and you want to own that IP and own that work. So let's take a look at this AI analysis again for this contract and see if there's any risks or obligations, especially regarding the IP. So again, we'll take a look first at the AI assessment here. And the line here says it includes robust intellectual property assignment to your organization and mandates the flow down of client confidentiality and IP obligations to the counterparty. So this covers, luckily, all IP obligations and risks well. So that's now defined in the contract. And as we can see here, the risk is again a liability cap, just like the previous contract. But also there's also no indemnity clause for counterparties' actions. But IP is not part of the risks here because it's properly covered. There's a lot of obligations here. A lot of them are high. So this is something you really have to take care of in this contract. Some are dated obligations, some are triggered, and some are ongoing. For example, confidentiality, no conflicting open source licenses. So there are some risks here too with licensing an IP, but this is signed off to the counterparty. So, but it's still a risk of this contract. So it's surfaced here, and that's still important. So this is how you can easily look into a contract, surface those risks, and especially for the subcontractors or freelancers, you can check if your IP is properly covered, and also the rest of your risks and obligations are surfaced with this AI analysis here. It saves you a lot, like digging through these contracts. It gives you a quick overview what these key risks are, because you can maybe read the contract, but the risks are what isn't in the contract, like what's missing, what we don't have covered. So that's why an analysis like this is super important for when you sign a contract or have an active contract. If you want to try this out yourself, you can use our free trial on the Contractor website. You can sign up, upload your contracts, and see if there's any risks in them, see if anything needs fixing. That is all part of the trial. So the link is in the description. And if you need help with us onboarding, let us know.